To this No Pants episode. Who even knows what number? Today I'm going to talk about 4 ways to start a sleaze-free conversation with your prospects if you're a freelancer trying to sell your services to someone else. Now, one of the things that's really, really important for you to understand before we get to those tactics is the core of everything I'm about to tell you comes down to this. In 2018, you cannot be coming into a conversation just wanting to grind out a sale, because in 2018, people, they know, they can feel it, they can sense it, they know you're trying to sell them something. Most of you, myself included, aren't good enough at sales to be devious and sneaky and kind of like doing tricks and all these sorts of things. So for those of you like myself who aren't maybe like the, hey, Rolex wearing sales guy, it's best to go into any conversation where there's a potential sale to be made, a potential client relationship to begin, and just go in with what I call outcome independence. What that means is you show up and say, I'm going to serve as best as I can. I'm going to do what I know how to do. I'm going to follow whatever script I have or whatever process I have. I'm going to check, I'm going to listen to this video that Mike is sharing with me. I'm going to try my best to follow those tools. But whatever happens at the end of the day, I'm going to be okay with that. Now, to get to outcome independence, as I've said many, many times before, you need some kind of system, whether it's using our Fast Client Getting workshop where you do the cold emails and get people onto discovery calls, or whether it's the No Pants Project program where you build an email list and you send daily emails. I don't care what system you use somebody else's system. I don't care. The way to get to outcome independence, where you can go in and have those conversations in non-sleazy ways, is to make sure that tomorrow you can get someone else in that situation. Meaning tomorrow, if this conversation doesn't work out that I'm having with this prospect, tomorrow I can have another one. And the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that, because I have a system that's just, when I turn it on, it gets those appointments, whatever the back and forth email, however you prefer to have these conversations, that you know that when you turn it on, it comes, and when you turn it off, it doesn't come anymore. Okay, so outcome independence. Now let's get to the 4 different things that I recommend on how to start these conversations, right? How do you start talking to a stranger? The first is to make the assumption, especially if you're using the discovery call process from Fast Client Getting Workshop, or if you're doing the daily email process, if you're having a conversation, whether via email or on the phone or Skype or however you're doing it, in either of those scenarios, if you're having a conversation with someone, it's because they've gone through your filters and they want to be there. So make the assumption mentally that in this phone conversation, they are there to be helped. They took time out of their day, again, email or phone call or whatever, to talk to you, to be helped. The best example that I can give of what this does and what it looks like is if you go into any Starbucks anywhere in the country, they say, not, hey, how are you doing? Not, hey, how can we help you? They literally say, what can we get started for you today? Why? Because they have been trained to assume that if somebody walks into a Starbucks, they're there to get coffee. You have to have that same mentality that whenever you're having a conversation, email, phone, doesn't matter, Skype, whatever, telepathically, I don't care. When you're having that conversation, make the assumption that they are there for you to help them. A lot of us, I think, go into these conversations like, oh no, what if they're here for some ulterior? They really don't want to hear from me. They don't want me to help them. No, they're there because they've been through whatever process you have. And so you should just feel the confidence, just know that that's why they're there. Okay, so that's the first thing. It's an internal thing. The second one is, please don't ever start a conversation with a pitch. A lot of times people will, within the first 5 minutes, hey, my name is Mike and here's what I do for you. I help these kinds of people. Expertise statements, as we call them in Fast Client Getting Workshop, wonderful, amazing to have, not in the first 2 or 3 minutes of your conversation. Don't start with a pitch. Instead, start the conversation with a promise of value. Meaning, when you're very first having this conversation, the first things that should be coming out of your mouth are, if you follow the script, for example, that we give away in our programs, it's stuff like, let's talk about you. We're here together. Let's talk about here. Let's talk about you. I know we're on this phone for a problem that you have. Let's get started. What's the biggest struggle you're having right now? What's the thing that if you could just snap your fingers and it be fixed right now? What is that right now for you? Where are you trying to go with your business? Where are you struggling right now in your life? It's the promise of, and when I say it's the promise of value, you're not having to say, I promise if you stay on this call, we're going to talk about value. No. It's about putting the impetus and the focus on the person on the other end, whether it's email or phone, and saying and being serious and showing that you are there to solve their problem. Like now. Now, sometimes the solution to the problem is going to be that they need to hire you and that sort of thing. And we can go into a whole different Facebook Live one of these days about making the transition and all these sorts of things. We're just talking about starting a conversation. But if you can start the conversation from, like, a lot of people are going to be almost startled. They're going to be like, wait, what? You're not going to like try and sell me right now? You're not going to try to like, manhandle me and pressure me into something? No, we're here. What's the biggest thing you're struggling with? Let me listen to you. Let me help you. Let me try and serve you right now in the conversation that we're having. The fourth thing, okay, so first, make the assumption that they're there to be helped. Second, don't start the conversation with a pitch. And third is start the conversation instead with a promise of value. And the fourth thing and the most important thing that you can do is, as early as possible in a conversation, show empathy. This is where your knowledge, the work that you've done about figuring out the pain points of your prospect individually, if you have the time to do that research, but maybe as a market as a whole. For example, one of the coaching students, I have a private coaching thing that I do, sort of one-on-one mentoring, and I was talking with her earlier today, and she was thinking about targeting web developers and web designers. And it's because it was someone that, it was a group of people that she knew intimately. She knew their struggles. She knew their challenges. And so in the conversations we were talking about, both in the advertising and in the conversations that she was doing, make sure that you show that you show empathy, not just be empathetic. But when you can reveal that you truly have empathy for the person on the other end of the whatever communication medium you have, it's going to take the barriers of distrust and it's going to lower them really significantly. Now, how do you show empathy? You verbalize or write it out, the challenges that you are aware of in their life. So I don't really know web developers that much, but let's say, if you're on the conversation, you're like, man, I know as a web developer, you really, like, it's really hard for you to be able to tell clients honestly how valuable it is what you do, because clients don't understand it. They just think you're a black box where they push a button and then all of a sudden this beautiful stuff happens, but you're over there building code and doing all these things. And I totally get and understand that. And that's why I want to help you right now, because there's only a few little things that you have to do to be able to overcome that. And maybe on this call we can talk about that, or maybe, back and forth email, send me an email tomorrow and we'll talk a little bit about that. Okay, my friends? So that's it. Those are the 4 ways that you can start conversations, and literally within the first few minutes, lower the distrust, gain your ability to be seen as an expert, right? Because people are, one of my favorite quotes from, I can't remember who says it, but people are walking around with their umbilical cord in their hand looking to plug it in somewhere, which is basically to say most people are just looking for someone to take care of them, right? Like in whatever problem they have in their life. So with these 4 steps, making the assumption that they're there to be helped, don't start a conversation with a pitch. Instead, start the conversation with the promise of value, and then show empathy. You're going to present yourself very, very quickly as the person who is there to help them. And when you do that, you will see, I'm pretty sure, I'm fairly positive, actually I would say I would almost guarantee it, you will see an increase in the number of closed sales, you could say, or the number of people who turn into clients versus how many conversations that you have. Okay, so that means you have to have less conversations to either maintain or even have more client closing type sales than you have right now. That's it, my friend. I see, hey, my sister's on here. Hey, Emily. Let's see, Laura is here. Yvette is here. Here for my mic fix. I hope this was helpful. Jessica says the outcome independent mindset I've learned from you. Jessica says, yep, I had a call like that. They were surprised that I wanted to talk about them. They kept asking for my pitch and I didn't have one. It was terrible. Expectations were not set appropriately. Yeah, so actually Jessica is a really cool example. I'm going to pick on you a little bit, Jessica. Jessica has been a really shining example of that, practicing that outcome independence and coming from a place of service. And what has happened is tremendous results. I won't share all the results, but Jessica has had tremendous results in two regards from what I can tell. One, of course, is clients, right? The money. That's why we're all starting a business, is to get some money. So she's had the clients, she's got the money. She's been able to perfect her process for repeating the getting of that money. But the second has been the internal stuff for Jessica. I've watched Jessica kind of realize that when I say serve first, it will lead to better sales, that's actually true. And it's been really cool to see her confidence grow and grow and grow in very short time. Just by following simple processes like these: outcome independence, starting with empathy, serving first, and kind of just taking a deep breath and realizing that people out there, they just need help. They need help. So sales as a service provider is not car sale. It's not used car salesman. Sales as a service provider is service. It's helping other people along the way, and whatever that way is. And I will have to say, Jessica's numbers, you guys, ever since she's adopted this style, are very good. If you were to compare her numbers to somebody who takes like the hard, aggressive sales approach, I can tell you from experience, having worked with many of these aggressive salespeople, her numbers are on par, if not better, than a lot of people who use aggressive tactics. It just goes to show there's room for this style of sales, if this style of client getting, prospect, sort of guiding towards solution style of process, or whatever you want to say. Okay, let's see. Alexander Marshall says, Mike, I absolutely love your advice and wanted to say that in one day I almost completely blown through the book that you sent me from the giveaway at the end of last month. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, very soon, because in the open community, we reached 10,000 people. For those of you who aren't in there, in our Facebook online open community, we have 10,000 amazing freelancers in there. We're going to have another cool training, and I'm going to give away a bunch more books then. So keep an eye out, Alexandra. You might be able to get another one. Let's see. Rebecca says, hey. Jessica says, love you, Mike. I love you too, Jessica. You are awesome. Yeah. And Yvette says, way to go, Jessica. Okay, my friends, tonight's Facebook Live is just going to be a short one for the No Pants Show. I hope this was helpful to you. Remember the 4 steps. Let me just reiterate them one more time. Make the assumption that the people are there to be helped. Don't start a conversation with the pitch. Instead, start the conversation with the promise of value. And then 4th is show empathy, not just be empathetic. Okay, my friends, I hope this served and helped you. Let's see. I will talk to you tomorrow. Is Valentine's Day. My family and I are going to get in our car and go into the woods for Valentine's Day. So I will likely be doing our Facebook Live very, very shortly from somewhere in the woods. I don't even know where we're going. We might go up to Mount St. Helens or something like that. I hope you all enjoy your Valentine's Day. Have a good one. Stay safe. Keep focused. Keep working. And I'll talk to you all later.